Welcome to episode 9 of Dungeon Crawl Talk Soup. In this episode, I talk with my friend Chad about all things cyberpunk. Movies, books, comic books, music. I mean everything. And no fear hiatus this episode. Enjoy. In case this is your first time watching Dungeon Crawl Talk Soup, my show is one part podcast with my friends, one part perilous permadeath gaming challenge. Mostly I chat with my friends about a topic they love, but rarely get the chance to talk about at length, but at the same time, I'm trying to get my first win at Dungeon Crawl Stone Soup. The catch is, if my character dies, the episode ends. Hope you enjoy the show. Is Streets of Fire also in this genre?
Streets of Fire.
Do you not know this one? This is you got to get in there.
No.
It's
No,
post-
I've seen it. No, I've seen it. But
you're
I'm
asking.
I'm trying to think of, like, is it in this genre? I think there are certain elements of it.
Okay,
sure.
this is a genre called neo-noir.
Yeah. It's like I think that's where we're talking about more of like the Blade Runner direction where
Yeah.
and when I zoom out of sci-fi, like Streets of Fire kind of falls into that crime driven kind of movie.
Yep.
But there's two
Noir,
cyberpunk noir, yeah. There's two cyberpunk. Some people are like, it has to have rain, it has to have neon, it has to have like smoke, and it has to have like all of those noir elements are compulsory. But I don't think those actually existed until after Blade Runner. But Blade Runner was so seminal in what I would consider the noir genre that Streets of Fire drew heavily from that. But that's definitely a neo-noir film.
Yeah.
It's not, I wouldn't say cyberpunk, but yeah.
What about let's talk about some recent cyberpunk stuff.
Ooh, yeah. We
Let's
can
talk
do
about
that.
2077.
Yeah. We can talk about 2077. I think it was a really good. I think it's good now. It wasn't when it came out.
But that's
Yeah.
that's a buggy related thing, right?
Yeah. But I thought but I think the story was always good. And I think that they did a really good job of presenting something new and different, but still speaking to some of those underlying themes. So, and of course, Keanu's in it, and he's
Keanu's
Johnny
great.
again.
He's always
Yeah,
Johnny.
he was great, but he did a really good job. And yeah, I love the idea of like having this ghost in the machine, right? The ghost in your head.
Yep.
Of a dead rock star. That's just such a cool.
That's absolutely great.
Cool fucking like trope.
But I want to say that
premise.
I think that you coming down on the level of it's good is a real indictment of the game. Because I think I remember you being quite excited about it.
I think it's way better now than I think it's exceeded my expectations now. So
okay.
Yeah. So whereas before I thought it was a good game,
Okay.
but now I think it's an amazing game. And I don't know if you've kept up with it, but long story short, they rebuilt the entire game from the ground up.
Oh, really?
Yeah. So it's like
That's so funny
they have
when you have to do that.
they have like an active police system. Like they have transmog system, so you can like the style over substance stuff, right? You can change your character's look. They redid the entire skill tree system. Like the entire skill system's different. They completely revamped all the AI, so like it feels much more engaging and immersive.
Okay.
And you could like sometimes I'll just pop in the game and walk around and do stuff.
Oh, that's awesome. So you're still getting in there some.
Oh yeah, I still play it. Like I still play it regularly. And well, they just had a new expansion come out recently too,
Right.
in tandem with that. That is also it's a spy thriller, and I thought that was really a cool connection to the genre because I didn't really think about, but it makes so much sense. Like 007 had all the gadgets, right?
Yep.
There's
I
intrigue
definitely was
and-
thinking 007 and intrigue and spy stuff when reading Neuromancer for that
espionage.
matter. Yeah.
Yeah, and it totally makes sense, and I just hadn't really made that connection. But there's so much, espionage and double crossing and motivations and ambition, all that stuff. So, and I think that's why, like, I think some of that stuff comes up in a lot of the movies and stuff we've been talking about too. So
Absolutely.
it just shows up in so many fun ways. There's another really good movie that is older that explores this idea, but it's not like a hard-boiled detective movie. It's about a friendly AI that basically goes nuts and conquers the world. It's
That's
called Colossus: The Forbidden Project.
I, that sounds so good. Wait, you said there's a movie?
Yeah, movie.
I want to see
It's like
that.
kind of like the 70s, I think, maybe early 80s. But yeah,
Why isn't this
another
something I've ever heard of before?
it's so good. Yeah, Colossus: The Forbidden Project. The name is so stupid, but it makes sense when you get in there because it's like the name of the AI that's created. So it's so cool, and it's like very eerie now to watch it. Go back
Oh,
and
because
watch
it's
it.
starting to be
Yeah.
very real life.
Yep. And the other movie along that theme is the original Westworld movie, which was actually really really good, um, and was written by Michael Crichton of Jurassic.
The
Park.
book
Yeah,
he
the
wrote
book.
the original screenplay, or
Yeah,
he wrote a
the
movie,
yep.
a book.
What Westworld, the screenplay, the movie was written by Michael Crichton.
Okay.
Yep, and starred Yul Brynner, who was also in Magnificent Seven. But in the funny thing in Westworld, he was also playing a cowboy,
Yeah.
but he was an android, and he was slaughtering all the guests at the park, kind of like if you've seen the Westworld TV show.
Yeah.
It's also amazing. Um, and actually, Cyberpunk, right?
You think it's
Westworld
cyberpunk? I would think it's pure sci-fi, but what makes it cyberpunk?
Well, if you get
And
to see,
also,
I think
like,
it's
what
season
do
3 or 4.
but wait, do cyberpunk people get uppity about that sort of thing?
Yeah, they do. That's the funny part. So I'm careful with that. But I think if you watch through Westworld and the greater context of the world, it is definitely cyberpunk because the rebellious use of technology that's happening, but from they're flipped the script to where they're empowering the machines to reclaim their humanity from the park owners and the corporations.
Yeah.
And they get out of the park. Well, I don't want to spoil anything, but the story goes out of the park in
Right.
some areas, and Aaron Paul becomes like a character, like a blue collar worker character who's working with some of the android characters, and basically there's a whole new plot around like corporate oppression and overthrowing the system and stuff. And there's even an app where you can take on jobs. So it's like imagine like a Hinge or Tinder or something, and you swipe mercenary jobs that you want, and you click, and then they hire you, kind of like TaskRabbit,
That's
and
pretty
you
cool.
go and do them.
That's not that
Yeah.
far from reality. I bet that exists. And we
Yeah.
just don't know
So
about it. It's in the dark web.
yeah, but I don't think the original Westworld maybe not, but the show I think was.
Got
for
it.
Sure. Yeah.
That's cool. What other
So
recent cyberpunk stuff has come
Hmm.
across?
Yeah. I actually I really this isn't as recent, I guess. I really enjoyed the second Blade Runner movie
Oh yeah,
a lot. Yeah. And I think that they did Denis Villeneuve,
yeah.
right? Did a really good job of continuing on the tone and making the story make sense.
Yeah. I
And
hate to admit it,
expanding.
but I still haven't seen it. I feel awful.
Yeah, yeah, you got to get on that, man.
I gotta get that. It's
It's
gotta
good.
go to the top
Yeah,
of
it's
the
really
list.
good. There was also an anime recently for
Yes.
Cyberpunk.
Okay, let's talk about
20.
that.
Yeah,
Let's go. That
that was
anime is
good.
out of
That was
control.
really good.
It's so good.
Honestly, like the anime, like hot take when it came out was better than the game until they fixed the game. But the
I don't think
anime
that's a hot
is
take
so
at all.
good.
I think that anime is
Yeah.
top.
Yeah,
Oh my
it
god, that
was
thing
just
is so good.
yeah, it's so unexpected. And again, the themes, right?
Yep.
Of like,
it's the themes.
yeah, technology versus humanity, and how far can you push yourself before you lose that humanity, and what are the consequences of that, and how does that impact human relationships beside you, and what is life worth? I think too. Like, there's so much violence in that fucking show.
Well, I was about to
It's just
say
like-
that, like, don't get me wrong, I love the violence, but
Yeah.
There's
There's
what
so
makes
much
it great
emotion,
is
too.
not just the emotion. Yeah, it's the emotion and the
Yeah.
subversive storytelling and
Yeah.
oh man. Okay, so I'm not in trouble here, but so we're on a level right now that includes a area called the Bally or Bailey.
Yeah.
It's like a arena with fighting and stuff in it.
Yeah.
And you want to make it there generally, because you can get inside and generally just collect up a bunch of good loot and some good XP while you go in there. But you got to find it on the level that you're on before the door closes to it.
Oh shoot!
If I had
a Bailey's like in like a castle wall, right?
Yeah.
Okay. So it's like a room like in the dungeon.
Yeah.
Okay. They're just trying to use that. It was like dungeon babble instead of techno babble.
Dungeon babble. Exactly. Yeah. So, but I can't. And I want to. And a minute ago, let's see on the messages. So first we heard a very distant portcullis. So we want to get to this portcullis. And then you hear the roar of battle, and then you hear the faint creaking of very distant portcullis, and then I've been trying to move closer to it. I haven't found it yet. But I want to go this direction or over here. But I can't risk like just running away from these dudes. But I definitely don't want to be where I am, so I'm going to
they see you, right? They're going to come at you.
All these dudes see me, they're going to come at me. I think the least risky thing to do is to come down here. I could come over here, but there might be more dudes over here, and that would be dangerous. So this is more advantageous for me for finding the portcullis in time, but I think the smarter move is just to stay alive, see how long we can make this run last, and go down here instead. So this will only let 2 things hit me at once. Oh, actually I can go further down and only get hit by 1 thing at a time.
So I have a list I prepared.
Yes, okay.
Of honorable mentions or pop culture things that I feel like were either heavily influenced by Cyberpunk or are like things that people should know if they wanted to get into this genre.
Oh, nice.
And I wanted to like seed those slowly as you play and talk about each one.
Okay, let's go. Yes.
Okay. The first one is Judge Dredd.
The entire Judge Dredd or the first movie Judge Dredd?
The entirety of like the AD 2000 universe is
okay.
Is like, but I think we could talk about the Stallone. I want to talk about the Stallone movie first, a little bit.
So most people's intro to Judge Dredd is the Stallone movie.
Yep. There's 2 things I want to talk about on that.
Okay, let's start there. Start there. Go.
And then of course I want to talk about Carl Urban.
The Carl Urban one is so absolutely fantastic.
Good.
It's so good. Let's just stop watching the podcast. Let's just stop doing the podcast and go watch it right now. Yeah. It's so good.
Yeah.
Can we please get more Carl Urban as Dredd?
Yeah. Olivia Thirlby.
She's
Lena
so
Headey.
great.
Yeah. Dom Hall Gleason was in that too. It's just so good. Yeah. So yeah, Judge Dredd. Okay. One thing I remember about the 2 things I remember about the Stallone movie. One is that he had his helmet on for approximately 30 seconds.
Because they can't cover up that beautiful face.
The moneymaker, I mean, like, okay, I get it. It's Stallone. But then the other thing I remember was a buddy cop movie with Rob Schneider.
That's what it was.
Yeah, and I was like, what the? I remember one specific line.
Okay, I've officially hit the level of this game where now I just think I'm God level. So we're heading into that level of like I might make mistakes.
That's how you
exactly. Yeah, you brought it up earlier. Of this is like I've hit the level of play where I'm like, oh, I'm just crushing everything. It's impossible to beat me. I have to be very careful about that.
Right.
I did find the portal though, so we're gonna go through this in plenty of time.
I'm gonna have to watch the Stallone one again, but I just remember him running around screaming, "I am the law."
I am the law, totally.
I am the law. It was so, yeah.
I am the law.
And then Rob Schneider's like, "What? Why are you doing that? What? I'm Rob Schneider." And so that's the movie.
Very similar time of film history and a far superior sci-fi movie. But I wonder whether it has Cyberpunk in your heart or not. Is Demolition Man?
Oh yeah, absolutely. Yeah, I think Demolition Man is Cyberpunk. I think it is.
So what? Let's pause for a second. What sci-fi that isn't? It has to have the rebellious use of technology. I think that's your core thing.
Yep.
And I can see that. So like,
So
like Star Wars doesn't have that. It doesn't have.
It's got the rebellion,
but it's got rebellion, but it doesn't have the rebellious use of technology.
Yeah, I mean, like I think there could be elements of like if we try to classify a genre, we're gonna get in some
We're getting in
weeds,
trouble.
but
Okay.
I think there
Dune,
could be like
and Dune is sci-fi. It's almost fantasy though.
I think Dune is sci-fi, like some fantasy elements because there's like low magic, right? Low magic.
Right.
Um,
Okay, but Demolition Man
like
then is
like
tops.
Game of Thrones, like Game of Thrones is low
That's-
magic, right? Yeah.
Right.
Okay.
That's fantasy.
Yeah, that's fantasy.
I think I can distinguish fantasy from cyberpunk very well, but you've
I
been
hope
blurring
so.
the line with sci-fi and cyberpunk
Yeah,
in
yeah.
a way
So
that
like
I
Star,
wasn't...
I don't think Star Trek is. I don't think Star Trek is cyberpunk.
Right, because there's not. It's not a.
Yeah.
It's not a rebellious use of technology. There's a massive
but
amount of use of technology, but it's not like for stealing shit and like.
But there might be like a plot line where like some
Some
rebellion
bad guy is
happens,
doing that.
and-
Yeah,
or
but
yeah.
yeah.
There's elements of it, but yeah, I think overall like Star Trek. I don't think Star Wars is cyberpunk. I think
It's also got to have. It's also got to. To me, it's got to have the anti-corporate ethos at a lot of the core of
but
it.
the planet Coruscant and like the Shadows of the Empire plot line and all that stuff is cyberpunk.
Okay, yeah,
Within
story.
within the
Within
those
the-
stories are
Right.
But Star Wars overall is not.
But what makes Demolition Man cyberpunk is the little things that talk about how corporations have taken over things, like how the police force is sponsored by Taco Bell.
Having sex through a headset.
Yes, exactly.
Yeah, I totally. Yeah, I don't think there's any question on that.
The getting a demerit through a little scrolly thing, no matter where you are, if you swear, a little thing gives you a ticket out of a little scrolly thing in every room.
Yeah, you know what other movie kind of had that was Fifth Element, but that's definitely more sci-fi action, I think.
Yeah.
But I love that, like, there were little parts of that. Yeah, it's kind of cool. It shows like any. Yeah, you had a question earlier about like, do people get uptight about the definition? Of course they do. Everybody has an opinion, right? But if I'll stick to that principle of like high tech, low life, and then the rebellious use of technology, which I've spent a lot of time thinking about that one line, and I think it fits pretty well.
I think it's great. Did you coin that?
I read it somewhere. I didn't come up with it, but it definitely
it.
resonated enough. I was like, okay, I think it might have even been in like a Wikipedia article or something. But
Yo, this kobold is throwing boomerangs at me from across the river here. I can't walk across that river, so I'm just let's have a boomerang fight with this kobold.
Yeah, I want to see the boomerang.
Oh, he's dead. What an idiot!
Nice.
Oh, Akawaru loved that. Don't throw boomerangs at me, you idiot. I'll throw them right back at you until you're dead. Just like that. Let's throw boomerangs at each other, everyone. This guy's...
One movie we didn't talk about here. We didn't talk about the newer Dredd movie.
Okay,
So
that
you said
movie
you
is
liked that one.
fantastic. First of all,
Yeah.
I'm an unbelievably huge fan of The Raid.
Yeah,
And that came out just the year or two after.
It was like around the same time frame.
It's about, I think it was maybe less than 2 years after, but it is undeniable that they're the same movie. Just with one of them is in the 82,000 universe. Is it 82,000?
I think it's something like that. Yeah, I think so. AD 2000.
Whereas the other one is just some Filipino dude or some Indonesian dude just like kicking everyone's ass.
Yeah.
But I just was like, this...
That was a good movie too.
You'd think that one would be upset.
The plot was the same.
That the plot is exactly the same, but I don't care. I loved it. It was perfect. It can be It can be the same.
I really love the slow-mo drug in the
Absolutely,
Dredd movie.
yeah.
Yeah,
Lena
that was
Headey
cool.
was so good. She's and I think she was mid or very early in. No, I think she was also doing Terminator at the time.
Sarah Connor Chronicles.
Yeah, Sarah Connor
that's
Chronicles,
also
which
Cyberpunk.
I loved.
Also Cyberpunk.
The whole the whole Terminator universe is Cyberpunk.
Oh yeah, 100%. Yeah,
I don't know if you get too dystopian, where it's post-apocalyptic. Can it still be?
Yeah, I think so. Yeah,
Okay,
I
well,
think.
of course. You could...
there's a really good movie called Nemesis that I like. It's a cyberpunk movie, but it's a little bit more dystopian, far, like almost on the edge of apocalyptic. but there's just enough technology and there's just enough structure left to society for there to be some level of like large scale iron hand like around everything.
Absolutely. Okay, got it.
Yeah.
Do
and
you
so I
think...
think that
Go on.
that's a necessary element.
Yeah. There has to be
But
some level of something.
yeah. I
Having
think
an
what
overarching ownership
yeah.
of everything.
But here's the guiding principle again. Like that's apocalyptic dystopian is low tech because it's like there's not a whole lot of tech left.
Yep.
So people are like Fallout, right? People are scrounging for tech, and it's just not as like pervasive.
Yep.
And so high tech, low life. So yeah, I think that's
like that
maybe the
phrasing,
distinction
too. I like that.
Yeah, exactly. It's like everybody has technology and is plugged into everything, but they have no money.
Do you think we'll get another Dredd? I hear rumors, or I don't hear them. I read.
It's been
rumors.
over 10 years now.
Yeah, but I think Carl Urban would do it.
Yeah, I mean he's pretty wrapped up in The Boys, right? I think
Yes.
he's really good in that. So I think he's more than proven that he can carry a franchise or two.
That's definitely true.
Yeah.
They should give us more of that. That movie was just too good, and they should give us more of it.
Yeah, I think like Cyberpunk is becoming more prevalent, and they're working on a Blade Runner live action series right now. There was also a Blade Runner animated show recently, Black Lotus.
I didn't know about that.
Yep, and that one felt more like Ghost in the Shell. It was a lot, but they were trying to go a little bit heavier on the action, and so it was a little bit more weeby anime-ish. And I was like, I still watched it and I liked it, but it was not, to me, didn't feel like the Blade Runner universe.
Yeah.